Hey, welcome to Dan's Fab Lab again. We're going to work on this lower rocker panel here today. And what we're going to do is lay out a template paper for this so we know what kind of metal to cut. And this will be done in 18 gauge. And what that template will help us to accomplish is the length of the part, the depth of the part, cutting this ridge right through here. This has to be actually not cutting, but stippling this ridge through here that has to be done partly on the bead roller, but in the course of this Landcruiser's life, there's just been a lot of patchwork. I don't know if you want to call it quilt patching type thing. I mean, it's literally a Frankenstein. But there's a weld bead that goes all along here where they just stuck a piece of metal against it because everything just went bad on it. Saving the language there. But anyway, everything rusted away. And so they would just constantly slap on another piece of metal, weld it as best they could, which kept them on the road. But now we're going to make it nice. We're going to redo the outer panel. That's what we want to build, left and right, outer rocker panels. Then we'll address the inner rocker panel that will ultimately, this edge here gets folded over to the flange on the inner rocker panel. And then that gets welded into, this is called an A pillar. And this is the B pillar. And so it's going to get molded into this. It actually runs from here to here, and that is what we're going to concentrate on. So we'll get the paper up there, kind of show you how we're going to progress with that, and what's going to happen as far as when we lay out the metal. So this is how I've got it laid out for the outer rocker panel, to compensate for the ones that I want to take everything apart, to compensate for the running board still being on there. I just sliced up an inch at the length of the running board to the front of the rocker panel, which butts up against this lower apron here for the cowl. And there will be 3/4 of an inch added on here for a flange that folds in. And then 3/4 of an inch will be added all along the bottom of this. This will fold down once I come off the car. But then I'll add 3/4 of an inch, and that'll be my flange to fold under, which creates some rigidity here. I can see when I cut the paper originally, I made these markings for forward this way, and this is thick enough paper that it doesn't bleed through, so I can make the same markings for the opposite side, and this will be kind of one of those ambidextrous things. I can use it on the left side, I can use it on the right side, and it doesn't matter. So I've got a marked driver's side for this side to be out, but I had to move all that down because a lot of this is going to be removed. You can see I've got my line marked here where that comes in, but right here I've got this odd shape where the door closes against it, the weather strip seals, and this, if we can see it against this, this would be its, and of course I'm standing in front of my light. Yeah, I can't see it. But anyway, right in through here, if I can hold everything, and I can't, right in through here is the shape of that, the contour that I have to accomplish. And I'll be doing most of that through the bead roller, some of it hammer and dolly, but that's what will happen there. So I've got it all magneted up to the steel. This will probably get cut out, and then I'll leave extra metal on this area for shaping through the bead roller and hammer and dolly work to accomplish this, because this actually gets folded over a 1/2 inch onto the inner rocker panel. So I've got to leave enough there and tip that so that I can hammer that over. Some of that's going to be stretched, some of it shrunk, and but to accomplish what we want to accomplish, this is basically gives us an idea of what we have to cut out for sheet metal, and we can move out from there. Okay, so we're back at the welding table slash layout table slash, we do just about everything at this table. I've got the template laid out, and I've got a straight edge laid along here. I couldn't get on that line that kind of came around like this, I couldn't get a nice straight line on that because like as I pointed out before, they had actually welded a chunk of steel in there and stuff. But I know that that line between the base of this radius and the base of this radius is a straight line through there. So I've laid this out at its lowest points. It is also creased, not just marked, so I know exactly where I need to be. I took a pencil and I scribed that with the pencil so that I don't get off my line. I use a razor knife, and I'm going to cut that so I have a nice straight line. Then I'll radius cut these with the scissors, and that will give us our line. I'm going to leave extra metal up in this area when I lay this against the steel to cut the steel. And again, then I have to compensate for an extra 3/4 inches here, extra 3/4 inches here, and an extra 3/4 inches at the bottom to compensate for all that. So with that in mind, we'll get after it here. There we have it. Let me move this back. You can kind of see we don't need all this. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to lay it against the side of the car and set a few magnets in there to keep it in place. And we'll figure out exactly what we need here. And then we can cut our sheet metal out. Okay, now I have it marked right here for typically I'm going 3/4 of an inch for a flange all around on the front, on the bottom. But on the back, I'm going to leave 3/4 of an inch for a flange because I may have to manipulate this depending on how we fit up to the front of the tub. And this is where that piece will go. And then of course, the B-pillar comes down into here, and then all that molded contour goes in through here. So anyway, so I'm going to leave myself an inch here in case I may have 1/8 of an inch that I have to address. Going to be close, but it may not be perfect, and that gives me the extra material I need to compensate for that. Test piece for doing our little contour that we've got to do. We'll use that on the bead roller. See how she goes. You can see on this side here, pretty nice metal. It's fairly new. This side, Same here. It's just humidity rust, and we'll clean that up with the orbital, and she'll look like new metal when we're ready to do our work on it. There, they don't look too bad now. On this one here, this is our test piece. We're going to run through the bead roller. I've made a line here. Can you see that? Yep. I made a line through here, and that's what we're going to run our bead on to offset the metal a little bit and tip that angle into it so we can flange it up above here. I want to see if I can get the curve in that without distorting the metal too much. I know there's going to be some shrinking and things that need to occur, but if I can do it without just really demolishing the metal too much, that will be awesome. But most of it anyway, we can hammer and dolly out and get it to look good in the end. So anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and end this video. We'll start the metal work based on our patterns, things of that, in the next little video we do. But this is about, we're around 12 minutes right now. I think that's enough for right now. And as you can tell, it's the next day. Got to change a t-shirt. And we've got the holiday weekend coming up. I had a few projects I had to get out of here today, so I wasn't able to work on the Toyota. But we'll get on to it in the next little video coming up. And we'll call it quits here today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And welcome back to Dan's Fab Lab.